Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Yinzer Brothers podcast. I am TJ. I'm here with my brother Tim, and we are the Yinzer Bros. Today is the Steelers-Browns post-game podcast. Your Pittsburgh Steelers defeated the Brownies 38-7. Big win for the Steelers against a tough team. Tim, are the Browns really that tough?
They're a bunch of bums. What did I tell you? Cleveland rocks, Cleveland rocks, Cleveland rock. Bunch of losers. That's what they are. A bunch of losers.
That's right. They held up their end of the bargain, which is being pushed around, being almost like the bottom of the AFC North. But you know what? It didn't shape up like that. In fact, if I remember correctly, when we were picking predictions for the game, I think did you predict the Steelers to lose?
No, I predicted the Steelers to win 31-10.
31-10. That's pretty good. What did I predict? What was my score?
Same as mine.
Oh, was it 31-10? That's right. Yeah,
Yes.
Well, you're right. Where we differed were the strategies for the win. In fact, who did you predict to be your player of the game?
I think I should be ejected from picking any players of the game for the rest of the season. I did at first say James Washington.
Mm-hmm. And he came up with a big touchdown.
Then I changed it to my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Devin Bush. So yeah. I'm sorry, Steeler fans.
You gave him the kibosh. Now, who was my player of the game? Who did I say was going to show up big?
You're like a wizard, man. I don't know. I mean, you said it was Mika, and Mika showed up. Yep.
And I said we were going to get two. I thought he might get two, picks. He only got one, but we did get two interceptions out of the deal because we all know that Baker Mayfield is a turnover machine.
He
basically
stinks. I love every second.
Still can't read a defense. I'll tell you what. After year 3, you can't read a defense. Mark my words. Before the end of the year, he'll be on the bench.
I did say that. I mean, it was kind of close. I said he was going to get pulled, and he did get pulled.
He did. And he said in his post game, he said he wasn't hurt. He said he just, whatever, but we'll see, whatever. But so let's talk about the game a little bit. Let's start with the offense, Tim. Tim, I mean, we put up 38 points. Give me some of your initial thoughts over about the Steelers offense.
I mean, you're going to start eating some crow about, what's Connor Strong, number 30, your guy?
I'll tell you what, Connor looked good. He rushed for 101 yards, had a 5-yard carry. He ran hard. He's a blunt instrument. As long as he doesn't have to see vision for the field. But I got to tell you this, he ran hard.
I mean, what else did you want him to do? Ben didn't have a great of a game. I mean, he only didn't even throw for 200 yards.
No, he didn't throw for 200
yards. You know why?
You know why?
Because you know why?
They're running the ball.
Connor Strong.
That's
Connor
right,
Strong.
Let me see what Ben's stats are. He was again, he's in your thing. He was 14 for 22 attempts, 162 yards. Again, a QB rating of 100.9.
Connor Strong.
He did good. Let's contrast that with Baker Mayfield. He was 10 for 18 for 119 yards. QB rating, he had two picks. QB rating 54.9.
I mean,
Tim, that's not going to get it done.
There were just so many beautiful things of this whole entire game. Just seeing the implosion of the Cleveland Browns, seeing Baker stink, seeing Odell be Odell at the end of the game. He's taking off all of his clothes. He's 8 minutes left. He has no shoes on, no helmet, basically no clothes on, no pads on, no nothing. It's beautiful to see. It's beautiful. All the Cleveland fans, my lovely Cleveland fans. Does it get sick? Do you get sick of Big Brother just beating your face in year after year after year after year? Are we done talking? Are we done chirping? Are we done? I mean, the worst part about it, I hear after the game, I'm like reading stuff. They kind of went, well, now, I see that we have at least 6 more wins on our schedule. I don't know. That team's not very good. They're not. No. You shut their running game down,
they got nothing.
Stink.
They do. You're right. And we ran all over them too, which is amazing. So tell me some things. What are some things you liked about the Steeler offense?
The offensive line was manhandling people. Dotson, the more I see him, the more I just love that kid. He is,
Oh,
if
yeah.
he gets his hands on you,
You're done.
lights out.
Yeah,
It's
you're done.
over. Like I said, the running game looked great. Ben did what he needed to do. I think I kind of said maybe they're going to take some deep pops early to stretch that defense, because you can kind of tell early in the game, Ben was throwing those quick pops. Probably could have had 2 or 3 picks. Truthfully, Cleveland can actually catch the ball because they don't stink. He towards end of the first quarter, second quarter, started loosening up that defense with some deep pops, and that brought those D-backs back. And then they started running the ball down their throat. Myles Garrett was non-existent. So, I mean, what more can you say? The offense, I think they just grinded Cleveland into the ground.
They did. It was a good performance. I love the game plan. I thought it was great. You could see how they set him up through the whole game. Ebron, had a decent game. He was there. Claypool is emerging again. And I thought what was impressive too is we're down. We're missing one of our best. He may be arguably our number one receiver. Mm-hmm. We're down him again, and
I don't know.
And we still do great.
TJ, I don't know, man.
Are you saying that Claypool now may be the number one receiver?
Oh, Canada,
he's a stud.
Native land. He makes plays. All he does is make plays all over the field. I mean,
you can use him anywhere. He's versatile. He's big. He's fast. Hey, second rounder. You know what that means? Everybody missed him. Everybody missed him.
I love that. Whatever the Steelers have in their playbook for drafting wide receivers, just keep you lock that in a vault somewhere so nobody else finds that.
You're right. And you know what? Hey, we got to see Mason. Mason went out there threw a pass.
If I was Mason, what I would have done is I would have taken one snap from center, turned to Cleveland sideline, gunned a ball right at Myles Garrett's crotch. That's what I would have done. And then ran off the field.
That's what he probably should have went and hit. They look good. Even with the injuries on offense, they look good. Mm-hmm. I mean, anytime you put up 38 points, that's a good day at the office, regardless of how – I mean, we know Cleveland's defense isn't that great, but 38 points against their defense is pretty good, brother.
I thought their defense was better than that. I mean, they manhandled them. I mean, it was a beautiful thing to see.
Steelers can attack you a bunch of different ways, and Ben does enough to get the job done, which is great. You could put the game on his back. Washington looked good. Juju got a few of his touches as well. Mm-hmm. Everything looks good, man. We're going to get healthier. We're going to get stronger on the offensive side of the ball.
The one thing I did like to see too, what I saw kind of later in that game, was Benny Snell was starting to run like Benny Snell.
He was.
So that was a good sign to see too, because I think, like I said, once this weather turns, he's going to be a bigger piece of the puzzle than I think people are thinking. I think you're going to need him. You're going to need him to, I think Ben made that statement in the second half. It felt like that old Cowher offense with the Bettis stuff, just grinding people to the ground. I think you're going to need that when it comes later on in the season. Somebody
better sit with McFarland and teach him the playbook. He almost got Ben killed that one time on that draw.
He was inches away from making the list forever.
Ben breaks his collarbone or something because McFarland. How do you not know? I understand you missed your blocking assignment. How do you not know the play is going to you?
If Ben would have gone up, even wincing, McFarland wouldn't have dressed the rest of the season. You would have got a large dosage of whatever Edmonds brother we have on the roster.
That's true. So who was your offensive player of the game? If you had to pick one, who would it be?
Connor Strong.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you what, it's hard to go against Connor. He looked great. He looked strong. He was running hard, and that's what you needed. You know what? I'm doing the same thing. I'm going with Connor. I think he was great. Although you got to say, man, Claypool's athleticism is freakish. Even that one play where he just barely got out of bounds where he put that ball over the line. That's just epic to be able to do that stuff. And I'll tell you what, man, props to Figure for using him in those different situations. Good night.
Can you imagine being a 5'9", 10 D-back when you see that monster just line up by it would be just unreal. I'd be shaking in my boots. Ugh.
I'll tell you what, and he's getting more confidence and he's starting to develop more of a rapport with Ben. And I'll tell you what, that's scary. Now, again, when we get Deontay back, that adds more quickness there. What do you do?
I don't know. It's a good problem to have. It's a
It is.
good problem to have.
It makes you wonder now when you look at old Bell is now a chief,
Hmm?
and when you look at Brown, who's he's sitting on a couch somewhere. Those guys are pretty special, but now you start to see the offensive widgetry where maybe we made them a little more special than they really are. And look what they're being able to recreate again.
I'll give you Bell. I think that had a lot to do, but Antonio Brown was a monster, man. He was a monster. I can't, at all the receivers that they've had. I'm sorry. He was just a different animal. But Bell, I could see what you're saying. You had, but I think Antonio opened up a lot for Bell. Truthfully, that's why. I mean, you see Connor have a game here or there. I think Connor should have those games every game, because it's going to come to a point in time where you can't put 9 men in the box, or we're going to kill you.
Right.
So I'm thinking you should see the running game sort of pick up a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. So let's flop to the other side of the ball. Let's talk about the defense. But what an impressive showing. I think people forget the Cleveland offense has been prolific this year. I think that's the best way to put it.
They're averaging 38 points a game or something, man.
And brother, we shut them down. I mean, they're the number one rushing attack in the NFL, and we shut them down. What are some of your thoughts about the Steeler defense?
Well, if the Steeler defense plays, I made that say, they play anything like that, there is not a team in this league that's going to beat that team. That defense was swarming. That defense, the crap that I gave to it, he was a monster on Sunday.
He was. That
defensive line was beating the loving crap out of Cleveland's O-line all game. It was a defensive line. I mean, I'm not even going to say TJ and Bud on the out. That defensive line to it, Hayward and Aluwalu were just manhandling Cleveland.
They were
manhandling Cleveland.
Mm-hmm. They were. Did you notice too? I mean, we didn't do as much of the blitzing as we usually do. And boy, I'll tell you what, they were in Baker Mayfield's head. He was, the way they were concealing some of their exotic blitzes and defenses, even the coverages. He just had that first pick to Mika. He totally, at year 3, he's got to do a better job at recognizing defenses.
It was terrible.
It was. He basically, I mean, I think you and I could, and Mika was just sitting right on it. He was just was getting there. The back end of this game, I mean, the Steelers' back end looked phenomenal. Didn't hear Nelson at all one time, right? You know why? You know why we didn't hear his name? Because he shut down that whole side of the field. Mm-hmm. I mean, so what do you do?
I mean, that hit that Hayward had on Baker in the second half, all my bodily functions would have left my body in an instant. I was the second half or the end of the first half. I went, my Lord, that defensive line was incredible. I mean, and then you got TJ Watt, who is just he's a freak, man. The guy is a freak. Defense looked spectacular. I mean, but you're scared crapless because I don't know. I mean, Devin Bush was a big piece in that defense. So either Patrick Spillane is going to turn into my Terrell Edmonds this year, or he's going to end up being a folk hero in Pittsburgh. Yeah. It's one of the two. It's one of the two drastics.
Well, I got to tell you, so I'm looking at some of his stats, and right off the beginning, right off the gut, mm-hmm. he finishes the game with 5 solo tackles and an assist, and he was flying. I was very impressed with him.
I just don't know what you're going to do in coverage with him. I mean, when you got teams with some tight ends and stuff like that can kind of spread you out, like a KC or even a Baltimore. A little nervous, but I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I think you're going to see a lot more of the that safety hybrid stuff that they ran last year a lot come in. But it sucks because I think one of the more valuable pieces besides Ben that you don't think on that team to lose
is Bush.
Bush. So we will see how their defense has to take a step back, but I just don't know if it's going to be like a drop off or anything like that. But it's gonna have to take a small step back, or I'd be stunned. Or like I said, if it doesn't, Patrick Spillane will be an ultimate folk hero in the city of Pittsburgh. You know that as well as I do.
You're right.
If he turns out to be anything a quarter of Devin Bush, there'll be signs with him everywhere in the city of Pittsburgh. There'll be T-shirts everywhere.
Right.
All you'll get is Patrick Spillane stuff. But it wouldn't shock me if they maybe try to bring somebody in though too.
Yeah, that's true.
And to me, if I'm the Steelers, if you think you're that close,
get somebody.
You think you gave up one of them high draft picks, maybe one of these teams that are crap, and pick up a decent linebacker here or there, to see what you can do.
Yeah, you need a unique one. He's got to be fast because to fit our scheme. But I think you're right. I think the defense looked amazing. They shut down the number one rushing attack in football. They kept them off the board, and they just. It sounds funny, but even though we won 38-7. That was closer than really what the defense did to these guys. They humiliated these guys. There was no air. There was no breath. There was no hope. This was a game where they put their knee on the neck and they choked these guys out, which is you needed to see that.
It just seemed like Cleveland was even after every yard they got seemed like it was 10 yards. You know what I mean? So it was just that defense was flying around the field. I mean, and they were just hitting. That was a pad popping game. It was like watching a varsity team versus a JV team. If you want my god awful opinion, that's the way it kind of turned out. It was just Steelers were out hitting them, out energizing them, out everything. I mean, I don't even special teams. Seemed like there was nothing Cleveland did better than them that game.
You're right. No, you're totally right.
Nothing, because Colquitt stinks, dude. He's a problem. He is.
Is he worse than Barry?
From what I saw from the wires, the Steelers just brought Barry back for a tryout today.
Are you serious?
Yes.
The Aussie's back.
Because Colquitt is not very. If he had one great save, I think on a ball, extra point or a field goal yesterday.
He did. He pulled that thing up. He did.
He's averaging 41 yards a punt. He stinks, dude. He stinks. Mm-hmm. So they got to do something. To me, I don't understand. Your two options are Barry and him. There's got to be somebody that can kick the ball 50 yards.
Got to be a door number 3 somewhere, right?
It has to be,
Whatever that big tall guy we had. Remember that big tall kid we drafted?
To me, you got Marquez King, who would kick the ball out of the stadium. Mm-hmm. Why don't you bring him in for the trial? Do something. He stinks. I mean, Colquitt's not good. I watched Cleveland's guy backed up to his shins to the back and he's a punt a ball 60 yards.
Yeah, he did a good job on that one.
One time, give me something, Colquitt. Give me something.
So the defense looks stout. They look good. Who's your defensive player of the game?
I know Mika had that interception for the INT. I just think that was such an easy INT. My guy, I think Tuitt was a hellraiser that game. So I'm going to stay with Tuitt because every time I looked, it seemed like he was in the backfield.
So Cam Hayward led the team in tackles, but I'm going for an underdog. I think the way he came in, how he filled the shoes. I'm telling you, I'm going with Spillane. I think he did great.
Oh, here's
defensive player of the game.
Here is where the folk hero begins.
That's right.
Pittsburgh.
I tell you, you come in, you're shaking in your boots, you're praying. This is the vibe that I got from him. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, we're going to die. What am I going to do? I think he engaged. He played fast. He brought the wood a few times. I thought he was fine, especially coming off the bench.
You know why? Everybody's going to say Bill Carr. It's a Bill Carr type guy. High energy type guy. Type guy.
He was a high energy guy. So I was impressed.
Like I said, you had about a quarter and a half of a snippet of Spillane. Wait till these offenses start game planning around Spillane, and you're going, get 41's sorry, slow off the field.
They can't yet because they don't have tape on them. But Tennessee. Hey, this week we need somebody that can stop a thumper because Henry he's a force. Before we get to that, though, again, let's before we get to the peak of next week, let's open up the Yinzer mailbag again. If you got any questions or comments for us, you can email us at yinzerbros@gmail.com. Again, that's yinzerbros@gmail.com. We do have a few things in the Yinzer mailbag. First is this. When is the last time the Steelers are 5-0? What did they do? And will the Franco helmet ever come off Tim's head this year?
The last time they started this again was, I think it was 78, 79. Was it 78, 79? More than 2 years. It They won Super Bowl. I mean, Super Bowl. Will the helmet come off? I don't know. I'm sort of, the more I start thinking in my mind, I don't know if it's going to come off. Maybe it won't come off. Maybe we'll have one of those seasons. I don't know. It's I don't know. I'm kind of searching for. There's going to be, like I said, every year there's the Mike Tomlin special. My guess it's going to be against some crappy team like the Bengals on a Thursday night or something weird. So they'll be the one letdown game. You'll be scratching your head going, how does this happen?
Well, I'll tell you what, when you look at the Steelers of this year, it's been a long time since they've had complementary offense and defense the way they have this year. They have a stud defense, and doggone it, when the offense is firing, I don't know anybody in the league that can stop them. Anybody.
I don't know if they've ever had this type of complementary, because when their defenses were good in 05 and 08, the offenses were okay. 10 when they lost, I thought their offense was better than their defense. Mm-hmm. Their defense was a little bit aged at that time. I would compare this defense to an 05-08 defense, but with that 2010 offense, and I think it may be a little bit better than that 2010 offense, truthfully. So I don't know if we've ever seen an offense this good for the Steelers and a defense this good at the same time.
I think you're right.
I don't think I wasn't alive for the 79, 70. I don't know how good that offense was. The defense is the defense. It's an all-time great defense. I don't know how good the offenses were. To me, I mean, you hear stories that you feel like the Steelers scored 10 points, they were going to win a game in the 70s. You know what I mean? So I don't know if it's, as you can saw in some of the early games this year, when the defense didn't play as well, the offense was able to put up points. So I don't know if they've had this kind of combination ever that I've seen.
I don't think they have. I mean, even the early 70s teams, they were strong both ways, but it's a different game. Mm-hmm. They could win a game, 16-10. It's just a different game. But I agree. And when you look at the whole AFC and the NFC, I mean, like you got the Chiefs, they got a great offense. Their defense is a little suspect.
I don't know. I mean, I saw them tonight play Buffalo. Buffalo played them tough. It's almost like Tennessee put an or whoever beat them last, the Raiders kind of maybe put a little blueprint out on them because they were struggling with Buffalo. I mean, Mahomes did. I think Mahomes would pass for 200 yards, so they were clamping down on them. If they ran the ball down their throat, So I don't know. I mean, KC's KC. Am I scared of them? We'll see. I don't know. I mean, the AFC is kind of. I mean, you got Baltimore, but I'm not scared of them either. But like it's going to be KC. But I think if you can somehow sneak that home game, get that bye, because you're going to get that extra bye that nobody else is going to get because you go to that 17. If we can somehow finagle that thing, Pittsburgh's going to be very tough to beat in Pittsburgh, especially if somehow, some way, they get crowds coming into this. I think it could be a tough thing.
So Mark does have a follow-up comment. He said he heard that the Boy Scouts of America are planning a jamboree in your backyard, Tim. Let's hope that that's not the case. They may be a little fired up, especially if they happen to watch the footage on this. But let's just be real. Nobody's watching the podcast. Nobody's listening to the Yinzer Brothers podcast, Tim.
I don't know. I had a lot of people asking questions. Where was the Yinzer podcast last night? They were fiending for the Yinzer podcast. I had a couple of people ask me.
They'll get it tonight. We got to get on it. And sorry we didn't drop it. I wasn't feeling very well. Here's another question.
I tried to tell them. I tried to say, if you can see the shirt, we do not care.
I love it. We do not. I got to get me one of those shirts. Here's another good question. I think it's good. With Bush being out, do the Steelers, do they need to go get somebody? Do they have what they need in-house, or do they have to go get somebody?
I don't know, man. I mean, it's not the Steeler way to kind of usually go out and get somebody mid-year besides like a Mika like they did last year. But is there anybody out there that's going to be close to Devin Bush that you can actually get?
No. You know the name that I heard that was surfacing.
If you say Anthony Chickala, I'm gonna I may who
maybe worse than Anthony Chickala.
There's nobody worse than Anthony Chickalo.
Not from a performance thing, but I don't believe he's a fit thing. And I can't even believe I heard the name circulating.
There is nobody worse.
But let me paint a picture for you. Imagine a terrible a rival that used to play for the Bengals.
He's too slow. I know exactly who you're thinking of. There's no way. Could you imagine bringing him on that team and having all I would do if I was Juju when he showed up, I would have that picture of Juju laying his rear end out right in his locker. To see how he reacts. There's no way. That dude's
perfect, is it? He's not very fast,
TJ,
but I'll tell you what.
TJ, there's no way. TJ,
he could shank you in the pile. He could definitely shank you in the pile.
TJ, he would. Can you imagine him being in Pittsburgh?
No, I don't think we can.
You think the fan base would accept him?
No. Well, just like, did you see what Flacco did the other day? He got sacked for a 28-yard loss.
Let me put it. I
28-yard loss.
I try to avoid as many Jet games as possible.
I'll tell you though, you know who would look good in black and gold though?
I mean, but let me go back to think about this Burfict thing. I mean, can you imagine? You don't think the fan base would embrace him at all?
They would. They would embrace him, but I don't know if the players would embrace him.
But he's not what they're looking for. They need a speed guy.
They do.
He's the same thing as Vince Williams. But
is he really though?
He'll murder you. He'll murder you and your entire family.
He will. He's got that Ray Lewis charm to him, you know. He says he's in your bushes. He is in your bushes.
I mean, and Vince Williams is pretty nuts too. You know what I mean? But no,
he's not perfect. A whole new level, brother.
There's no perfect. No.
We'll have to see. I think we'll see more of the rumors swirling as we get. But I think you're right. I think you pick up somebody that's.
I mean, but my thing is like you pick from a team that's crap. I wouldn't take anybody off the Jets roster if you paid me. So I don't think they have anybody you could take.
There's one on the Jets roster I'd love to see in black and gold.
Sam Darnold. He's anybody that touches the Jets. I don't care where you go. You're poisoned. You're dead. You're done. You're done for your career. If I was the kid from Clemson and I knew the Jets had the first pick, I'd be pulling a John Elway, a Pate, or an Eli Manning, and I'd just be like, I'm not going there.
You know what's going to happen? They're going to draft him first, and Darnold's going somewhere. And I can tell you that these are the destinations. I think he's either going to go to maybe Indianapolis because Rivers is going to be there forever. I could see him coming to the Steelers.
TJ,
you got a couple years.
That just tells you that you'd have to. I mean,
move Mason and the Duck.
It doesn't matter the money wise because you're gonna have to extend Ben.
Oh, I think you extend Ben, but I mean at that point,
I feel Ben's gonna pay with his arm. He may pay another 100 years. We may have.
That's fine. It's been surgically repaired. He's like the $6 million man now.
He is. He's like
could be
Jesus Ben.
He could. Be. He could be. He looks good.
He does. He looks fantastic. It's like I said, you feel so warm and fuzzy having him on your team compared to last year when you were like, you had the Pampers and the Imodium on, the whole entire game. It's just lovely. But like I said, with the linebacker, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think of some of the teams that are just god awful that you can kind of maybe throw a draft pick at or something like that. I don't know. With the playoff field expanded to 7, I heard a weird stat that there's like, I don't know if it's in the AFC or one or both in the league. There is 12 teams with 1 win or none.
There's
like
a lot.
That's like a third of the league.
It's bad.
So if you're a third of the league, are you going to actually make that trade now? Because I think the trade deadline's in a couple of weeks. I mean, I don't know.
So knowing the Steelers, I don't think we're going out to get anybody.
No.
I think they're going to keep it in-house. Even though we got to admit that was a thin position for us. Maybe they throw somebody on the practice squad. I don't know. I don't even know who you bring back. The only one I can think of them bringing back is that red-haired guy. What was his name?
Oh, he's on Buffalo, dude. He stinks too.
I know, but he knows the system. Yeah.
No, dude, no. If they bring him back, I would rather. I would.
Would you rather see Chickalo?
No. I'd rather see what Spillane has. I mean, I know you still have Ulysses Grant, and I saw with Barry they brought in some other guy that's supposed to be a special teamer.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and Marcus Allen could play down there too. They have him on there. He could drop down there.
We'll see. As long as they don't bring, I know Barron's out in Denver. I don't want to see that guy ever again in the Steelers.
I think he's hurt again. I think Barron's hurt again.
You've been hurt all year. He stinks.
He does.
He stinks.
He does.
So, I mean, like I said, I don't know. Maybe you try to pluck somebody from that NFC East crap division or something. One of them crappy teams. I have no idea, man.
Probably take somebody from the Falcons. There, I mean, they know they won, but they're a mess. Grab somebody from them. Maybe somebody from the Texans. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Texans are dead in the water too, so I don't know.
We'll see. Get your shorts together. There's going to be a lot of Patrick Spillane.
Hey, he was my player of the game. He was my defensive player of the game.
Right now, by the end of the year, he will either be number 1 on the list, or I will have a 41 jersey by the end of the year. It's going to be one of the two drastics.
I think you're going to have a jersey because I think that they're going to figure it out. I think they can. I like the scheme this year. I think they got the players to pull off the scheme this year.
Can you imagine Patrick Spillane's name in the Super Bowl or the Steeler Here We Go song somewhere? Oh my gosh.
It could be epic. It could be epic. It could be great. So that's all we have for the Yinzer mailbag tonight. Again, if you've got any questions or comments, you can email us at yinzerbros@gmail.com. That's yinzerbros@gmail.com. Again, if we happen to read your question on the air, you would be famous on this national podcast. We are a national podcast. We know at least now it's listened to in Chicago, and there are a few people out here on the East Coast that listen to it. I did a poll the other day with my family, and to my dismay, most of my family doesn't even listen to the podcast. People that live in my house, Tim, they don't even listen to the podcast.
TJ, they need to be cut off financially, emotionally.
I agree.
Everything. I mean,
you just cut them off.
Producer T, Producer T's hand was not raised, so Producer T he's on good terms.
He is.
The rest of the crew. I mean, my wife doesn't listen to it either. So
it's a high quality podcast. I don't understand that.
I mean, I had 2 or 3 people out here clamoring, "Where's the podcast?" last night or this morning. I had a special call this morning saying, "I went to look for the podcast because I want to listen on my way to work. No podcast." I said,
"It'll be here tonight. It'll be here today."
You know, maybe at some point here, Mr. Gunn can throw something or a bone our way or something.
I think I don't know. I mean, he's going with the Eagles right now. The Eagles. I'll tell you what, they almost pulled it off for us, man. I thought they were going to do it at the end there.
The Eagles wind up winning that division by the end of the year.
Oh, of course they're going to win the division. Here's the question: Will they win it with a winning record?
Wow, that's a loaded question. That's a good question.
They do have the tie.
I'm gonna think they are because they really haven't gotten into divisional play too much, and I think they're gonna beat the crap out of everybody in that division. So it's gonna at least give you 5 or 6 wins.
You would think.
To me, and once they get their guys healthy back, their receivers, I think they'll be all right.
Yeah, they got some. They're banged up, and Wentz is playing better ball, so that's good. So let's take a peek real quick. The Steelers play the Titans this week. I've always thought the Titans were a good team. I know you were suspect, but I think they're solid. Henry's running the ball hard. Boy, you talk about a freak. How would you like to have that guy running at you?
Who, Henry?
Yeah. What would you do if you're a safety coming up and you see him, Tim? Tim's not a small guy. Tim, what are your stats?
Now or back when I was playing football?
What are your specs now? Let's say, because you got those 4 plays in the NFL. What are your specs now?
Always 6 foot, 230, 225. Always.
So you square up on this guy.
About, I don't know, 20 years. What?
Yeah, right. You square up on him. You see him coming at you. What do you do, Tim?
What do I do?
Yeah.
I use all my 4 plays on that one play.
I mean, if you're like, I'd be nervous to even go take his legs out. Have you seen his thighs?
TJ, I have tackled some monsters in my day. I mean, if anybody remembers LeVar Arrington, I had to make a tackle on him one time. He used to be a running back in high school.
How did that go for you?
He just tripped over me. So if I had somebody like Henry, oh man, I'd probably, again, as I told you, the guy from Philly, when he saw Claypool line up after him, he should have took 2 steps and just grabbed his hammy. If I saw him come after me, I'd probably look up, grab my hammy, and just hit the ground.
Tennessee looks strong. Tannehill, he's throwing the ball well too.
TJ. Let's just break this down. To me, I'll even say this, what I think is, I mean, they're undefeated or whatnot. I think Tennessee's a poor man Cleveland, because truthfully, you shut them down, they don't have as good as weapons on the outside as Cleveland.
Yeah.
If Henry doesn't get 200 yards a game, and their defense is a lot worse than Cleveland's.
It is. Their defense stinks.
They're better coached than Cleveland. If you shut down Henry, you're going to beat the crap out of this team because they're going to pressure Tannehill and just kill him. Like I said, the only thing that's going to gets me a little nervous is you don't got Bush, and I want to see it for a full game. How much of a drop off this is going to have in this team. I mean, like I said, I don't think. I think Henry, even not last game, but a couple games. I mean, if you shut him down, I mean, they're not that great. It's just the fact of shutting him down. I think they lost their all-world left tackle. They're all-pro left tackle. He's out for the year.
They did. Yeah, they did.
I mean, that's a bad sign. You lose your all-pro left tackle, and you're bellying up with Bud and TJ. That's not a fun. It's not going to be a fun night for those guys, man.
Did you see today too? They're getting fined for breaking some of their COVID protocols,
which I think is crap. This team should be they should be kicked out of the league. They should be automatically forfeited all the games. And Henry should be able to come play for the Steelers for the rest of the year.
He would look great in black and gold, wouldn't he?
Yes, he would. I saw today that I guess the two people that are highly questioned was like their tackles out, but I also heard their tight end, who's very good, is very questionable this game because of his ankle. And that's the one that got me. Out of anything, a good tight end is going to get me nervous playing against the Steelers now.
Yeah. Not with the mighty splaying. He'll be fine.
Oh, boy. Like I said, he's either going to be on Chicolo's stratosphere on the list, or Tim Mateo is going to be rocking a 41 jersey by year ends.
That's right. I think it'll be the latter, Tim. I think you're going to have a 41 jersey and probably a number 11 jersey as well.
Oh, 11 jersey's already in the mail, baby.
It's already coming. Mapletron's already coming, huh?
Yeah, so I'll probably have him cursed by mid-year some point.
So look for the Steelers Titans preview later this week.
Mm-hmm.
We'll break all that stuff down. Tim, is there anything else you'd like to add to the podcast tonight?
Anything else I'd like to add?
Yeah.
No, I mean we're good. I mean everything's pretty good. Anything you want to add? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm happy. Hey, we're 5-0. Steelers look strong. We're what? How many
I've never
undefeated
three.
teams?
TJ, if you might go, I don't know how to act right now. I've never seen this. I've never been a part of a 5-0 team. I don't know. I'm holding my breath. You know, I'm trying to keep the same socks on. I've wore the same shirt every game for the past 5 weeks.
Have you washed it or no?
No, I haven't spilled honey on it the last week, and I still haven't washed it. I just put some water on it. I don't know how to act.
Tim, this whole thing's riding on you. So you better toe the line.
I'm beginning to think it is. And the thing that's awful to this too is it's getting to a point where my daughter's, I hate to say it, she's copying everything I do. I think at one point during the game, I believe it was like right before halftime or somewhere, James Washington caught a ball, and instead of staying in bounds, he went out of bounds.
Yeah, I
stopped the clock. And my daughter has these little handkerchiefs, and I had one in my hand, and I throw on the ground and go, "What are you doing?" And I turn over, and my daughter has a ball in her hand. She looks at me, and she throws it on the ground just to discuss like I did. I go, "Oh, no."
Here we go.
My wife gave me that death stare, and I go, "Now I actually have to watch my mouth and watch what I'm saying all the time around the little one."
You do. It's a big deal.
Yeah,
well, I'll tell you what, we're gonna ride the coaster as long as the coaster's going, man. This is exciting for the Steelers. Every time we stack a win, that gets us closer to the ultimate goal, which is number 7, right? That's what we want.
Yeah, celebration. I can't wait.
Things are stacking up.
The one thing I will add, which is infuriating to me, and again, I swear we wouldn't talk about this crap, knowing that the Tampa Bay Rays has half the Pittsburgh Pirates roster and they're in the World Series makes me want to throw up.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. That's all I got. I just shake my head and I go, this is disgusting.
It is. Well, that's all we have for you tonight. I am TJ. I'm here with my brother Tim, and we are the Yinzer Bros. We are shooting for a big victory this week coming up against the mighty Titans. But for now, enjoy the victory against the Cleveland Browns. Stay classy, Pittsburgh. Look for our podcast dropping later this week. Have a good one.